A wildly successful 2025 for Ohio State is almost over, and there is finally one more game left to cap it. Welcome to AT&T Stadium and the Pregame Keys on 97.1 The Fan and 10 TV, also 10 TV Plus. That is Jeremy Birmingham. I am Austin Ward. We're here. And just when you think there's nothing more to say, after 25 days off after Ohio State lost the Big Ten Championship game, there's still plenty to break down with this matchup.
It's really interesting, and you know, there are a ton of keys. Obviously, we've talked about it for the last 25 days, as you mentioned. The pressure, the protecting Julian Sayin, getting after Carson Beck, the run game, stopping the run, finding a way to exploit Miami's weaknesses in the secondary, use the receivers, make sure you have personnel groupings that actually take advantage of what Ohio State does the best, and all of it. And I this is why we love to record impromptu, first thought, quick thought things, and we don't plan any of this. When you talk about a wildly successful 2025 coming to an end today, no matter what, that is the first key for me. And it's, if you've talked all season long that last year's team didn't matter, winning the national championship didn't matter, then tonight is the night that really has to bear itself out, because nothing matters other than this game tonight. No, Miami's not going to care that Ohio State was national champion last year. Ohio State shouldn't care it was national champion last year. If you don't play your best game of the season tonight, you're going to lose, because you're in the playoff. And that is the way it works from here on out. You're going to play high-level, top-tier opponents from here on out, and you better bring it. And I think from what we saw out of Ohio State in the last couple days, from what we saw and heard from Ryan Day in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I don't know, man. Like, my Berm vibe check is feeling a lot better, and I don't know why. Now, we haven't watched him come into the field. I'll have a totally different opinion, maybe, if Ryan Day comes out here and starts scuffling around. And
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either, but that's what happened in Indianapolis. And so that's when it ultimately will set in for me. But I don't know. I feel like when it comes down to just talent versus talent, top to bottom, Ohio State is a better coached team. Ohio State is a more talented team. If Ohio State does what Ohio State does at its best, Ohio State should win.
Yeah, I'm glad I incepted that idea about 2025 into your brain, because this team has, this version of Ohio State has clearly tried to separate itself from the national champions a year ago, whether that is taking down the banners or some of the decorations in the Woody once they went into spring practice. You think about this, like all the people that they had to replace. If, Caden Curry wants his legacy to be leading a national championship team and not just playing for one, this is a game where he's going to have to show up and do that against Miami. We can name 10 other people that want to do that. Sonny Styles as well, even as a key contributor and starter. Yeah. And with a big hit in this building in January, 11 months ago, he said as soon as you got to February, he moved down one row in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. That was a different level of responsibility as a senior. This is another opportunity for him to show his growth and to make a mark against a talent-equated opponent in a hardware game. So we've seen it. Like, the trophy's here. Yep. You get a lot of rings. We saw the national championship team a year ago get 3 of those in the postseason and a lot of jewelry. So the stakes are obvious, but I think once you narrow that focus down even more to what it means for some of the individuals who are playing a role on this field tonight that they weren't a year ago, this is truly when people will be paying the most attention to that.
It's also, this is the building where, if you remember, 11 and a half months ago, Ryan Day walked over to Jack Sawyer and punched him in the chest and said, "You just became an Ohio State legend." Like, this is where you have the opportunity to set a legacy at Ohio State. For a guy like Sonny Styles is a perfect example. His father played at Ohio State. His brother plays it with him at Ohio State. He's a national champion. He's an all Big Ten winner. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. But now you're the leader of the Ohio State Buckeyes. You're the Block O.
Yeah.
Like, everything goes through you. And so all these kids, you're going to have to lean on those stars. And ultimately, I think that's where the biggest key is for Ohio State, which is let the stars shine. That has to be the focus of your offense and your defense tonight, period.
I've really been thinking about exactly what you just said for 25 days for sure, but definitely in the last 24 hours. And this, again, seems obvious. And as in terms of a pregame key, it might be the most cliche thing possible. 4-17 on offense have to win this game. And I said on bold predictions, I think that Jeremiah Smith needs 15 targets. I don't even feel like that's that outrageous. Actually, Zach Boren called me. You want a vibe check? He called me at 8 a.m. this morning. I wasn't quite ready for that as I was mentally preparing for the game. And he said, JJ needs 12.
Well, the media party was last night. It was a long night.
Yeah, well, stop talking about my dreams and what I do. Okay?
Whatever. I was in bed by 10:30. I'm an adult.
Zach said 12. I said, well, I think 15. He's like, well, that's even better. And
well, you said 12 catches.
12 catches on 15 targets. And I think that in a game like this, yes, that may mean that Ohio State has to play at a faster tempo. So be it. If you don't say 2 months ago, and we left Indianapolis saying, well, they threatened to push the gas pedal and did not.
Yeah.
Are you saving that for tonight? If so, what does that look like for Julian Sayin throwing the football for tempo, which I think is also important? Zach made this point about slowing down and neutralizing the very talented Miami defensive front, which we've kept the emphasis on Ohio State's offensive line. The passing attack can do that as well by getting the football out of Julian Sayin's hands quickly and by getting a first down and staying out there and pushing the tempo, make them play 5-6 snaps in a row. That's going to slow them down if they have to try and find a way to sub, or you don't let them sub.
Yeah.
Either way, that works to Ohio State's advantage. So I know that deep down in his soul, Ryan Day wants to run the football. That's a part of his offensive identity. But the actual identity of this team, when it's at its best, is letting 4 and 17 and 1 and 86 touch the football.
Well, that's what Ryan Day has done when he's been most successful. If we go back to the 2018-2019 season, the 2019 game against Clemson, it was pushing tempo. The 2020 game against Clemson is pushing tempo. It was the Georgia game, pushing tempo. It was the entire playoff run last year, pushing tempo. They haven't done it all year. He said over and over and over, we're building for something bigger. We're building for the postseason. We're building to win a national championship. It doesn't matter if you run tempo against Illinois in October. It matters how you do it tonight. And we bring up those guys, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. Yeah, they have to be the focal point of the offensive game plan. But it's also them being the focal point means Max Clare has a big game. It means Brandon Ennis has a big game. It means those guys are left open because Miami will have to adjust. And I'm never a subscriber to force feeding anybody. We go back to the 2015 Buckeyes and the idea that you had to get the ball to Zeke a certain number of times or Braxton a certain number of times. I understand your point. Jeremiah Smith naturally should be getting that many targets anyway. That's not you don't have to force it to get him that number of targets. He's always open.
Have you ever seen him be covered on that 10-yard sideline out?
No, and that's why it's going to lead to a touchdown on the first play of the game, a 75-yard,
little double move.
Little double move. So I believe firmly that Ohio State is going to attack. And we'll talk on snap judgments after this game. And if that doesn't happen, I will prostrate myself in front of America and say, sorry.
You're going to do what?
Prostrate.
Oh.
I'm going to say, sorry, man, Ohio State, that's what they said they were going to be doing, and then they didn't. So we got duped. Everyone got duped. And if that happens, Ohio State's going to lose this game. I think there's a world in the second half where you can slow things down if you have that 2-score lead you've talked about. But until that happens, this offense needs to go, this defense needs to go, and it has to highlight the stars. It has to be Arvell and Caleb and Jeremiah and Carnell and Sonny. It has to be those guys if you want to win a national championship. To win a national title, your best players have to be your most impactful players.
Yeah, and I think this also ties into the third aspect. If you're talking about the offensive line, Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate making plays on the perimeter to help negate that Miami pass rush, they are going to win some reps. I'm telling you right now, America, be ready for that. Austin Saarveld's had a great season. Philip Daniels is healthier than he's been. If they come from the interior and you're looking at Gabe Van Sickle in his first start, or even Luke Montgomery or Carson Hinsman, they will lose reps tonight. They are not going to go 75-0 against Miami's front. So when that happens, that puts Julian Sayin and his decision-making in the crosshairs. And I'm not just talking about getting the football out of his hands. There are going to be 2 or 3 opportunities. Will Howard did it on this field a year ago on 4th and 3. But I'm talking about a play breaking down of whether it's getting out of the pocket to throw or scrambling for 5 or 6 hard yards.
Yeah.
That's going to have to happen 3 or 4 times tonight. That will be on Julian Sayin's shoulders. He's very much aware of that. That's not going to come as a surprise. You can't force it. It's got to happen naturally. But when the moment comes, will Julian Sayin meet it? Because there will be 3 or 4 plays, I absolutely guarantee it, where Julian Sayin's legs are going to be required to get away from either Messidor or Reuben Bain or Justin Scott or a blitz from the second level. He's going to have to account for that.
Yeah, and my next key ties into that, which is don't make the bad plays worse. Don't turn an 8-yard loss on a second down sack like you did against Indiana into a 20-yard loss. Yeah. Don't go from
Well, he wasn't down.
Don't go from 3rd and 16 to 3rd and 29 because that's the type of momentum. If Miami's able to pin their ears back and feel like they can just go after the quarterback, they're going to be able to get to him. And I'm not saying they're going to get to him 5 times like Indiana did. I'm not saying they're going to get to him 7 times like Miami did against Texas A&M. In fact, one of my bold predictions is Ohio State has more sacks than Miami. But they need to be off balance. And that's why ultimately we're talking about featuring your stars, but Bo Jackson in the running game has to be efficient tonight. It doesn't need to be 25 carries for 200 yards. That'd be great. It'd be good if you saw a Ezekiel Elliott type performance in this building. But you don't need that.
Yeah, no, you don't.
You need to be efficient in the run game. If you need 3 yards, you better be able to get it. If Julian Sayin needs to do a quarterback sneak to get a yard, he damn knee better be off the ground. Like, those are the things that you have to figure out. And that's going to be difficult with a guy probably making his first start at right guard in Gabe Van Sickle or Josh Padilla. So who's going to step up? Because I think ultimately there's all the conversation about the stars. Someone else has to be a difference maker in this game, whether it's Jalen McClain on defense, whether it's Bo Jackson on offense, whether it's Max Clare on offense. Somebody else has to be a guy that gives Miami fits that they weren't ready for.
Yeah.
And I think Bo's the most likely guy to do it. He seemed to be that guy all year. I think it's fascinating to talk to a young guy like him because he doesn't know how to deal with the media or really the success he's had, but the offense has been its best when Bo Jackson and the run game are complementing the passing.
Yeah, and it certainly appears that Ohio State will have a clean bill of health, at least for the starting lineup. There have been daily availability reports. It's been pretty clear-cut and stagnant throughout this week who's going to be in and who's going to be out. So Ohio State will roll into this with the full complement of starters. Just going to be missing, most likely Tegra Shabola at right guard. Quincy Porter is out, but everything else has been basically the same for Ohio State. We anticipate that being the case as well. They have until 90 minutes before kickoff. We couldn't wait. We wanted to start talking about this and getting those pregame keys out of the way and letting you all take a look at what AT&T Stadium is like calm before the storm, because it's going to be an awesome night. We hope you have a fantastic and enjoyable and safe New Year's Eve when this game is over. We'll be right back somewhere in here, maybe over there. I don't know.
I imagine our Snap Judgments is going to be hitting the airwaves right about midnight Eastern time, based on the way that this game is kicking off at 7:30. That's probably right about the time we'll head into that. If you're one of those people who are watching this episode of Pregame Keys from outside AT&T Stadium, get in here early and get loud because they're going to need it. It's a beautiful day. I understand why you want to hang out in a Walmart parking lot, but it's a beautiful day and it's going to be an awesome game. Can't wait.
Also, put your phone down if you're outside and just get ready for a
after you watch the
wonderful environment in here. It is finally here after a long wait and the last day of 2025. What could be better than spending it watching Ohio State and Miami? I know I'm looking forward to it. Jeremy Birmingham is looking forward to it. And we'll talk to you once it's over, win or lose. But we both predicted a win, so clearly that's going to happen. And we'll break that down on the notebook and some post-game snap judgments from the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Eve. We'll see you there.